Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Another week has gone by, so has another weekend, and this past weekend, I actually went on a trip. You know how last week I was telling you guys how I didn't really fulfill the year because of my lack of doing things, because I'm so busy with, work and stuff. But I decided, that I was going to be a part of a trip to Vegas. Yes, that's right. Las Vegas. I went to Las Vegas this weekend. It was a trip that was talked about with my family for a while now. And it was a trip, just a day trip. We were going to go there for a day. Going to go watch the Raiders play, which I'll talk about that soon. And, just chill out, for a day, fly back the same day. And I was kind of on the fence about it at the start. If I'm being completely honest, I was like, do I really want to go to Las Vegas for a day to watch the Raiders? Like, everything that I like and what I'm about would be anti this, right? I don't want to go to Las Vegas on a football Sunday when I have football to watch, lots of football to watch. So I was thinking to myself, am I really going to give up a football Sunday to go watch, the Raiders play? And then, of course, chill out and see some things in Vegas. But I was thinking to myself, you know what? My family really wants me to go. It's actually all paid for. It was a paid trip. The tickets for the plane, the game tickets, they were all paid for. I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? Why not? I'll go. Yeah, count me in. I'll go. Let's go to Vegas. Why not? So, this was my first trip out of the state. I want to say in about 10 years. Because my last time I was out of state was when I went to Oregon and Washington, which was back in, I think, 2012 or 2013. I can't remember, but that's when last time I was out of the state. So this past weekend was my first time back to Vegas in about maybe 16 years. So that was, a long overdue return to Vegas, to the fabulous Las Vegas. And my first time on a plane in about 20 years, maybe even more, I'm not too sure. But my first time on a plane in a long, long time. And this wasn't just like any other plane ride. This was a 2 plane rides in one day type of ride. And, I live in California, so on the ticket, or not the ticket, but the pilot, the pilot said to us when we got on the plane that it was going to be a very, very short trip to Las Vegas from California. In fact, he said it was going to be about 45 minutes there, which it was. And, my first time being on a plane in a while, I have a lot of thoughts about that. First of all, I was very, very, very nervous about getting on a plane because, not because of flying itself, but there are so many things that I've heard from people who fly a lot or fly frequently, that you have to get there super early. You got to check in. You got to go through TSA, and then you got to wait to board the plane, and that takes a while as well. And when we got there, the flight was super early. It was at 6 a.m., and we got there at... no, it was at 7, my bad. It was at 7 a.m. We got there at 5:15. The boarding started at, sorry. We got there at 6:15. 6 o'clock. And we're waiting there. And then we started boarding at 6:30. That's what it is, 6:30. And after that, we got into our seats. First time doing that in a long time, Tickets were on my phone. That was the first time I've ever experienced that. And, the last time I was like a little kid, so I don't really remember much of it. But I felt like it went by pretty quick. I ain't gonna lie. We flew out of a smaller airport, so that might have been why. And not that many people at that time. To be honest, it wasn't. It didn't seem like the plane was going to be that full, at least when we started aboard. I don't know if people came in later or something. I don't really remember that. But it didn't seem like it was going to be that stressful of a period, because I guess not that many people are boarding planes at 6:30 in the morning, but maybe I'm wrong. It was also a Sunday, so if people are like vacationing somewhere, they're going on a trip, coming back home, that would be the day that you would leave, right? If it was like a weekend trip. So we got on the plane. It was pretty cool. They went through all the instructions and things of like if the plane crashes or if the plane is experiencing, failures, when the masks come down, the little life vest that you have if the plane goes into the ocean or a body of water. That's also something that I think that not many people think about is, especially when you like fly like all the time. But if you're like me, who never flies ever, haven't flown in 20 years, that's what I was thinking about when he was giving me giving the plane these instructions on how to, what if the plane actually lands in a body of water? Now, obviously we went from California to Nevada, so there's no real bodies of water. I think that would, that you would land a plane in a body of water, but I could be wrong. But anyways, that kind of got me a little freaked out. Not like I'm trembling or I'm like really scared, but it's just to think like, oh shoot, yeah, this thing could possibly go down, and this thing could, actually, if we have to land in like a lake or like a big river or something like that, that is a possibility. Thank God that didn't happen. But it does cross your mind a little bit. It does cross your mind. Like you think about it, you see the things, you look at the little pamphlet that they give you of how to, with the instructions of how to, put on your life preserver and all that and how to activate it. It's not something that I think that a lot of people who don't fly, if you don't fly that regularly and you're on the plane, your mind tends to, go to, oh, we're probably going to crash. And if we do, I have no idea how to do any of this, But, besides that, it was pretty cool. Some cool-ass service. It was a very, very quick flight, so that wasn't too bad. We were there pretty quickly, but they give you some refreshments. That was nice. That was very cool. I will say the best parts of flying, which I haven't, because I haven't flown in a while, so this is like a refresher, and this is like what I enjoy about flying. Taking off is pretty cool. Taking off is sick. You go pretty freaking fast, and then you can feel like the wheels lift off the ground, and then you're airborne, and you kind of go like, you angle up more, and then you can kind of feel like, oh yeah, we're moving up the sky, and it's pretty cool. And then landing sometimes is pretty cool too. It's kind of, you don't really like think that landing is a tough thing, because you just kind of see like, gradually the ground gets closer to you. And then you hear like the plane give a little bit more resistance because it's trying to stop, and the wheels hit. Then they slow the plane down, and it's like, oh shoot, we come to a stop. That's pretty cool too. And then of course, I had the window seat, so I was watching for outside, to see the sky, the clouds, and the sun and all that, and see like the mountains that we were flying over, and just thinking to myself like, man, if we did not have plane tickets and we were still going to go to the game, we would have to drive there. And last time I went to Vegas was about like I said, 15 years ago. We drove there, and that's like a 6-hour drive. Like that is not a fun drive at all whatsoever. In fact, the fact that the plane actually took, the plane ride was only 45 minutes was incredible. And then you're dropped off at the airport, then you can get like an Uber to the Strip or whatever, which is what we did. And it was just like so seamless. Like within like an hour and a half, we were already eating breakfast somewhere in Vegas. I couldn't believe it. It was so fantastic. And the fact that we also traveled light. I took nothing. All I took was my phone, my wallet, my AirPods, and that was it. I went on a plane with nothing, with no luggage, nothing to, put on, no backpack, no fanny pack, no like little bag, nothing. I just went with what I could fit in my pockets and the clothes on my back. It was pretty cool. I was thinking to myself also, like, if we, for some reason, if we have to stay in Vegas, right? Let's say like our plane gets so delayed to the next morning where we pretty much have to find a place to stay. I would have to buy some toiletries. I would need to buy deodorant. I would need to buy a toothbrush. I would probably need to buy like tissues, some wipes. That is if we were to like, stay somewhere where that's like, we would have to. If our flight was like so delayed that we had to fly the next morning, I would have to buy all that stuff and be able to essentially live. We'd probably rent out a hotel or something like that, but still you would have to buy all that stuff because I didn't pack for it. I wasn't planning to stay the night in Vegas, which we didn't, but still. That also kind of crossed my mind. I was like thinking to myself, like, I'm traveling so light right now, like incredibly light. Like, one thing goes wrong, and then I essentially gotta buy clothes and stuff to sleep in, potentially buy PJs, shampoos, all that stuff. So that was kind of a riveting feeling. Like, I might, if things go south, I might have to buy new clothes. You never really know. But it was cool. And Vegas too was very cool too. Like it wasn't hot, which was nice. It was about like a cool like 35 to like 50 degrees the entire day I was there. It was pretty sick. Wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. It warmed up, once the day went about, and that was cool because I went in a t-shirt and a flannel. And I was thinking to myself, like, when we landed, like, oh, it's pretty chilly. Like, I might have messed up. I should have probably brought a jacket. Didn't bring one. Didn't need to, though. It didn't get that cold. Walking a ton, kind of warming up a little bit. Was inside for the majority of the day, and so it was pretty cool. It was a cool experience. And then once we were there, we kind of went to casinos. We went to go see the Strip. We went to go see... Then we went to the Paris casino, which is pretty lit. I decided, to take some money because my family was saying, like, you're not going to gamble. You're not going to play, you're not going to actually do anything at the casino. You're just going to sit around and do nothing. And I was thinking to myself, like, well, I'm not a gambling type person. Like, I don't gamble ever, really. I don't enjoy gambling away money. It's not something that I'm fond of. It's not something that I like to do. I think that it's, not fun, honestly. But, I decided to not be that type of person. I decided to be one. I went with the flow, right? So I brought some money to gamble. And you know what? I was thinking to myself, like, I'm probably not going to gamble that much. I ended up gambling $40. $40. But you know what happened with that $40? Didn't win. I lost it all. I lost all my money. All that money that I gambled, gone. Down the drain. Kaput. And you know what? People who go to Las Vegas, right? People who go there for more than one day of gambling are insane. They must be rich or just don't care or are good at gambling, which I don't know if anybody really is, if I'm being completely honest. Or you just might be, just lucky, or you break it up into, this, how much you gamble, kind of separate it by hanging out and shit. But I don't understand how people can go to Vegas for more than like one day of gambling. If I'm being honest, like I lost like $40 so fast. And let's be honest, I had some lucky spins, right? I played the slot machines. I didn't play any, card games or whatever. So when I was there playing the machines, I haven't played machines in a long time, probably about like maybe 7 years since last time I gambled at a casino. And I was like, oh, I can see why people do this. I mean, it is fun. Don't get me wrong. Gambling can be pretty fun. The lights, the little tunes that the machine plays, and sometimes you actually do win. Like, I think the most I won in a single, like, slot machine, pull, whatever the hell, in a single bet, I guess, was like, I think it was $14. I won $14 or $13, and that was pretty cool. That was electric. You could actually feel like, oh, look at this. I won money. It felt good. And I battled back. I went above how much I bet. At one point, I think I was at like $32, I think, or something like that. After putting in a 20 and then losing some money and then battling back. So that was pretty cool. It's a fun experience. It's definitely something that, I feel like I can see myself do more of. Like, if people want to go to the casinos around here, or, want to take a trip, maybe just go for a little bit, go try your luck. I mean, it would be fun. And now that I, went to Vegas, and say that I've gambled in Vegas, last time I went to Vegas, I wasn't old enough to gamble. So I can now mark that off my list, I guess, of traveling achievements. I have gambled in Vegas. And I've lost in Vegas. And you know what, though? It's kind of cool, though. Like, because the whole town of Vegas is just hotels and casinos and places to eat. It's a big, 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 big tourist attraction, right? That's kind of what you do there. That's kind of like what you do. Now, I will be honest, and this is going to be disappointing to certain people that I've talked to before I went. I did not go to a Vegas buffet. I did not. I was thinking about it. I was, one of my friends suggested it before we went there. Like, what can I do there besides like gamble and stuff? Go see some hotels. Like, go to a Vegas buffet. He was saying, go to a Vegas buffet. I was like thinking, like, you know what? I've heard about Vegas buffets. I heard that they're pretty good. Massive amounts of food. Big variety, a lot of choices. I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? Okay, let's see if we can find any cool Vegas buffets. Of course, I did not do that. I was kind of in the mindset with my family. Well, do what my family wants, and what they wanted was like to see like Paris and all that. That's of course, before we went to the football game. But I think I got enough of Vegas. Maybe not forever, but definitely like for like a couple years. And if I do go back, probably just for like maybe 2 days. I probably like go see a show or something like that. Day 1. Day 2, maybe walk around, maybe gamble a little bit here and there, but that's about it. Besides that, I mean, the city's just there so you can waste your money and gamble, essentially. And I was looking at like the jackpots on the slot machines, and there was like jackpots of money that, it just keeps going up and up and up because everybody loses. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you know what if I actually hit that? What if I hit that jackpot? And I think the biggest jackpot that I saw was like maybe $13,000. I was thinking to myself, like, dude, if I got that, that'd be so cool. It would be amazing to get that. It would be just so sick. I could just, cash out and just leave. I wouldn't even like do anything else. I'd just keep that cash and just be like, you know what, I'm cool. I probably would sit there for the rest of the day. I would go to the football game and then just sit there for the rest of the day after that. Just do nothing. Not have to worry about anything. And of course, like, people are going to be like, well, don't you want to like try to make more? It's like, no, I don't think you know how it works. Just because you win a little bit doesn't mean you're going to keep winning a little bit. Like I said, I won $13 back. I battled all the way back and made a profit in my gambling. And after that, I just lost more and more and more. And I lost even quicker than I had won that. So it was like, it's crazy. I was like, what's the point? But yeah, that was pretty fun time. I think the highlight though, like one of the better places we went to was Caesar's Palace. Caesar's Palace was pretty sick. We went to 3 casinos: the Lick, Paris, and then Caesar's Palace. Caesar's Palace is pretty massive. It's a massive hotel. I didn't actually go into the hotel rooms. I was just on the casino floor, but like so many slot machines, so many table games, an entire section just like fenced off for like sports betting, and even more casino, even more casino. Like it was just so big. It was so big that they had a food court like in the center of the casino. And it was just massive. Oh, and by the way, this was a trip that I was going into knowing that I am going to have to move my bowels a few times this trip, because I'm going to be eating some chow almost like every couple hours. Like there's no way that my body is going to be able to contain that much waste for an entire day in Vegas. Like there's no way. I was just planning, and I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? We're not going to be at a hotel. So there's no mindset of like, I got to take a shit. I'll wait till we get back to the hotel. That's no longer an option for me on this trip. And I was thinking to myself, well, I'm going to have to pick and choose when I go to the bathroom. How am I going to, I need to be smart. I have to think about what is going to come next. If I have the time to go now, do I have time to wait? Am I going to eat soon? Like, where am I at with my bathroom visits, where I can pick where I need to use the bathroom? And I think that I did a pretty good job. I went to the bathroom, first of all, at the airport, going to Vegas, went to the bathroom there. Went to the bathroom when we got to Paris, after we ate breakfast when we landed, or brunch, whatever, at Paris. And then I went again at Allegiant Stadium at the Raider game, and then I went again at Caesar's Palace, and then at the airport. So I'm pretty sure I went a total of 5 times to the bathroom. Because you never know. You never know when you're on the move that many times. When you're not guaranteed a bathroom. Like I said, I have no hotel room to rendezvous, to retreat to use the facilities. I have to pick and choose on the move. And I will say this: the best bathroom that I used the entire trip was at Caesar's Palace. Caesar's Palace, on the casino floor, had a beautiful, beautiful facilities. Like, it seemed like it was like marble floor, beautiful stalls, with actual like doors, like they were made of wood, not like some cheap material. Kind of had a little bit of weight to it. There was just a whole like room full of stalls, a whole room of urinals. There was no way anybody was going to be begging for a stall or a urinal because of how many there were. And it had nice airflow. It had music playing. It was fresh. It didn't smell bad. I dropped bombs, and it was fine. It was good. It was good air filtration. It was fantastic. One of the best one of the best public bathrooms I've ever been to. Probably Caesar's Palace. Top 3. I'm probably forgetting about one that I used that was beautiful, but top 3 bathrooms I've ever used in my entire life. Public bathroom. And and after that, we midway of the day, we went to the Raider game, like I said, and experienced one of the worst games ever played of football, I think. Final score was 3-0 Vikings. The Vikings won. And it was a terrible, terrible, terrible game offensively. And I couldn't believe how bad that the game was, to be honest. Like, being in a dome, you think that there's no weather, really. There's no wind. There's no sunlight. There's no cold or hotness. It's just, perfect temp, perfect playing conditions, and still yet no team could score a touchdown. It just took like the entire game for the Vikings to kick a game-winning field goal at the very end. And just pitiful. Just not a fun game to watch. Like a little bit of a breakdown here. I think that they could barely convert the ball on third down, but I think that both teams were like 3 for 3 on fourth down, which was crazy. But I mean, still not a fun game to watch. Very, very boring. I think that both teams don't have a quarterback. Aiden O'Connell is not the dude. Josh Dobbs, I think that's probably done. And it was just a terrible game. Terrible. Also, my first football game in person. First NFL game in an NFL stadium. I will say, the game was bad, but I kind of felt the drama. If I'm being completely honest, I felt like electric at some points. Like when, it was a good defensive game. So like there was a lot of good defensive stops and turnovers and sacks and fumbles and stuff like that. And it was a good game in that sense. Like it was entertaining. It's just it was a bad game that was played. And I think that it was entertaining because I was there in person, and you can feel the energy of the crowd and like the energy that the crowd would give the players, and they kind of feed off of you. And it's just when people get loud, it gets electric. And that was really fun. That was actually a really cool part of the game. I feel like this whole idea of moving the Raiders to Las Vegas was probably one of the worst decisions you could do for a sports team, if I'm being honest. And not just the Raiders, but any sports team that moves to Vegas that has fans, that has a following in their respected city that they came from. If they're going to move to Vegas, I think that it's a bad move. I think that's a very, very, very bad move, and I'll tell you why. Las Vegas, as cool as it is, and it is cool, right? Sin City, it's got these casinos, it's got light shows, it's got showmanship, performances, concerts, comedy shows. Las Vegas is very, very cool for that in that aspect. I don't think it's cool for sports, and especially football, because all that stuff that Las Vegas is known for, lights, showmanship, music, performances, that all kind of bleeds into what these teams, especially like the Las Vegas Raiders, want to incorporate into their football team. And I think that it doesn't belong in football. I think that it does not belong in football at all. And what I'm talking to you about is, what I'm trying to get to you is that the Las Vegas Raiders have an awesome stadium. Very, very cool stadium. Very, very unique, very cool looking stadium. Inside and outside. Very cool. They also have some elements that they bring in from Vegas into the football game, which is obviously a given. Like, they have a live band at the game that plays music throughout the game. I like music. I don't like when the music is being performed every commercial by a live band. I think that doesn't really belong in a football game. I think that you could play music through a PA system, little snippets of music, which is what they were doing. They were just playing snippets of songs, just having a live band do it. But I think that that's a little too showmanshipy and too much, performative for a football game. I think that should not be in football games. I think that is not something that goes well with football. Football, to me, is a battle. It's a war. It's a conflict between two teams that should be taken very, very seriously. I think that, when you have that type of stuff happening in a football game, it kind of distracts the audience and it took me out. Like, what am I here for? I'm here to watch football, not like this band perform snippets of songs that I've already heard of. They were just covering songs. And I just thought that it was kind of, misplaced. It didn't need to be there. But the fact that they're in Vegas, I think that they need to put on a show. It's like, no, your team should be the one putting on the show, not this band over here. And I thought that it would have been a much better experience if that band was not there performing. I mean, they were talented. Don't get me wrong. They were a talented bunch of people, talented individuals, at their instruments and singing and all that. They were very talented. They're very good. I just don't think that belongs in football at all. I really don't. And on top of that, the worst probably maybe, besides incorporating Vegas things like showmanship and music and performances in Raider games, this stadium, the location, just location itself being Vegas, has pretty much stripped away any home field advantage that the Raiders could possibly have. Essentially strips it all away. I mean, there was more Vikings fans at the game than Raiders fans. Way more. It was like a sea of purple. Like, there was so much purple and yellow at this game that I could not believe it. I mean, there was just a sea of purple and yellow, sea of Vikings fans chanting their skull, and doing the clap thing, skull. If you watch football, you know what I'm talking about. There was a point, too. Also, they have a drummer there, on a drum set. And one of the things that he does is he pounds the drums at a steady beat, like doom, 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 to pump up the crowd. And after, I swear to God, the Vikings fans straight up hijacked that entire thing that he was trying to do to pump up the Raider fans. When he was doing his doom, doom, every time after the drum beat, they said skull, skull, skull. So they essentially were so many Vikings fans that they were able to hijack the Raiders chant, or the Raiders, being able to pump up their team. They hijacked it, and they never did it again because there were so many Vikings fans. It's incredible. Like if you're Mark Davis, you must know that you have made a giant mistake when it comes to moving your team to Vegas. Cool market, a lot of, tourists there. That's another thing, is like, it makes sense why there were so many Vikings fans, because Las Vegas is a tourist destination. You can get people, not just Vikings fans, but other NFL fans that come to play the Raiders, that are going to go to Vegas and watch the game, obviously, and then go, at that night after, oh yeah, let's go gamble. Let's go see a show. Let's go do this. So you've already lost the home field advantage. You're going to lose home field almost every single game that you play. If you think about it, like, these guys, a lot of them probably look like they came from Minnesota. Look like that they came straight from Minnesota. Why not? Weekend in Vegas, go watch the Vikings play the Raiders, go watch the Vikings beat the Raiders, and then go gamble, see a show. Like, when I was thinking about it, when I was processing it, I was like, oh my God. This dude, Mark Davis, didn't even think of his own fans, because they don't have a home. This stadium, as beautiful as it looks, as cool as it looks, this is not a home. This is not a home field advantage. This is a nightmare. Unless the Raiders actually start to win games and build up, wins and actually produce a good team, then possibly they could, make a home field. But until that happens, I don't see that happening anytime soon. This is not going to be considered a home field for the Las Vegas Raiders. As far as I can see it, like, dude, these guys were from... There's no way there could have been that many Vikings fans here in California or in Nevada. No way. They all had to come from Minnesota or the Midwest, and, you're thinking to yourself, why would they come here? It's Vegas, baby. Why would they not come here? This is what the whole city was designed for, to get people to come here as tourists, to gamble their money away, go see shows, go see football games. So, Yeah, I get it. You know, you're gonna sell tickets. You're gonna get a lot of people in the seats in the stadium. Cool, but mark my words, man. This is not a home field for the Las Vegas Raiders. And if you're a Raiders fan out there, like my dad is, like some of my friends are, like you should feel like disrespected by Mark Davis. Yeah, Oakland was a dump. It was a dump. And, you know, they wanted to go to LA badly. They couldn't do it. So they went to Vegas. And it seemed like like their second choice. Like, all right, we'll go to Vegas. You know, we'll cash in. We'll hit the jackpot. We'll get a bunch of tourists there to come see, you know, the Raiders or the visiting team. We're going to win either way, right? So, yeah, I just thought that the game was bad. The game was terrible, and Allegiant Stadium is not a home for the Raiders. It has the Raiders logo on the field. It's got Raiders everything. You know, it's got a torch for Al Davis. It's got, like, you know, all the lights, and some fans are there. A lot of fans are there. But if I'm being real, if I'm being honest with you, if I'm being somebody who's actually there, it ain't a home field, man. It ain't a home field for them. It's not home field advantage. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about, but it's actually true of how much little support that they had at that stadium. It's crazy. Let's stay with sports for a little bit longer. Big news this past week. Shohei Ohtani is now a Los Angeles Dodger. That is right. The former Los Angeles Angel is now a Dodger. And listen, I mean, I did not think that this was going to be a possible signing for a couple reasons. One, we seem to be losing out on these big signings for a couple years, you know, and Shohei Ohtani being an actual international worldwide superstar in the sport of baseball. And, you know, he could have gone anywhere he wanted. And the reports of, him going to Toronto, which ended up being fake the day of his signing. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, like, is he actually going to go to Toronto? I mean, how much can they be offering him, you know? Didn't know. Thinking to myself, like, okay, we're probably not going to get him. Thinking to myself, like, we do need him. He would be an excellent addition to the lineup, to the pitching staff, even though he's injured. It would have been cool. I mean, we were essentially going to be getting the next Babe Ruth, who, I mean, in my opinion, he already is the next Babe Ruth. But I was thinking to myself, like, you know, this contract's going to be massive, and it is a massive contract. You know, it's got some, you know, thing where it's like he's not going to get paid all of it until the 10 years after his contract is up. But just the fact that we are actually able to get Shohei Ohtani as a Dodger is so exciting. I mean, it's incredible. He's a great player. I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see him in Dodger blue. It makes me excited. It gives me enthusiasm. But at the same time, I know that the pressure is only even more mounting as I speak. The pressure of performing is on his shoulders as well. The pressure of him delivering in a Dodger uniform is immense right now. I mean, talk about, like, you know, having the pressure of being a Dodger, a stoic team, you know, a team that's been around for ever in baseball and is known as baseball royalty. You know, just baseball royalty. Like, it almost makes me sick to my stomach to know that, well, if this doesn't work out and it's with my team, that I'm just going to be so sad about it, because there has been little to be excited about. Not be excited, but a little to be proud of when it comes to winning as a Dodgers fan. Yes, we have an incredible team. We could have a better team. That's why we signed Shohei Ohtani. But every year, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, every year we do so well in the regular season, and in the postseason, we just blow up. We blow up in flames. We lose in the most pathetic way possible to the most pathetic team in the division or in the league. And then we just, we're no longer talked about. We're forgotten. And that's been happening for too many years now, to the point where you're like, you know what? And I've said this before, I almost rather you not be a division leader. I almost rather you not clinch until the last game. I almost want you to be a wild card team, because I need something different. Every time that we choke or don't make it or embarrassed is when we're like the number 1 seed. And like, can anyone stop them? Mid-season, it's like the Dodgers are incredible. The Dodgers are winning games at an incredible rate and playing so well together. And then it becomes just like a pit in your stomach when you lose. When we lose in the postseason, it rips out my heart. And it's like, now we were the champions of the regular season, and now we're just postseason clowns. I think that the team needs a lot more still. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited about Shohei Ohtani. I'm very excited. I do know that we need more people. We need more pitchers. We need about, I would say, like 2 more really good starters, a couple relievers. I think that we might be pretty decent, with adding 2 of those, with adding more starting pitchers and a couple relievers for real. I think it's possible at that point. And I think to myself, I really do think that if Dave Roberts cannot pull out a World Series within, I think, like 2 years of Shohei Ohtani's time with us, I think the dude's got to go. I thought he should have been gone last year. Of course, I've cooled down, and then I've kind of thought to myself, like, maybe this is the year. Maybe if he does not succeed after this year and we go out in a disappointment again, then he's gone. But then again, kind of being realistic here, I'm being a little realistic, maybe give him 2 years with Shohei Ohtani. Get Shohei Ohtani at least in his second year healthy as possible, to have a full year, hopefully of non-injuries, because he's injured right now, and see after that. If that's not going to happen, if it's not going to happen after 2 years and I'm not talking about like making the postseason, we make it every goddamn year. I'm talking about winning the World Series. If we can't win the World Series with the lineup that we got, plus Shohei Ohtani, I think he's got to go. For real. Like, I think it's over. I think that he has had enough time, had enough good players, had enough good teams where he could be in the position to win multiple World Series, and we don't win. And obviously, the one against the Astros where they cheated, I'll give him that. We should have won that one too. But, the COVID one, I don't count. Sorry, I don't. It's a Mickey Mouse trophy. I would love for it to count, but to me, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, it's so candy ass. I know none of the players are going to say that it was candy ass, but I'm going to say it was kind of candy ass, if I'm being completely honest. I just want to win a true World Series. That's all I want as a Dodgers baseball fan, is to win a true World Series, and I have not gotten that yet. And it's terrible. It's not a good feeling. But yeah, great news, cool ass news, great player, generational player, right? Two-way player, pitching and hitting and even fielding sometimes. Electric player. I mean, he's gonna make a shit ton of money. Just from marketing his image. Like, he might be a billionaire, when it's all said and done. He might make so much money that it's just like insane, like how much money one person could possibly have like Shohei Ohtani is going to be like the richest dude in American sports. I think so. But yeah, I mean, like, it's a good signing. I love the signing. I can't wait to see Shohei Ohtani. But it's much more than just one player. I'm a fan of the team, right? The team comes first. This is all being done at the good intentions of the team. And right now the team is not a good spot. We're not in a good spot. And hopefully that this guy is able to contribute, play well, play hard, play as much as he can when he's needed, and show up when we need him the most, right? That's what we want. I don't want him to, just and with the structure of his contract, he can't really do this. I don't want him to be like, oh, I'm gonna get paid. I'm gonna relax. Like, no, that's not why you're here. You're here to win. You're here to win a lot. I mean, he did this decision, I hope, in the hoping to win multiple World Series. I'm not talking 2, 3, 4, at least 5. Like, I need at least 5 from these boys. With the team that they've assembled and how long that they're there for, like, we need at least 5 World Series championships within this next 10 years. I'm calling it right now. I need that. I need it. I mean, how many times, like I said, how have we had the best team in baseball and we can't do shit in the postseason? We are embarrassed in like the first or the second round. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable and disrespectful. I'm sorry. There's no other way for me to put it than those 2 words. Is like, you're gonna disrespect me like that as a fan? Like, I might buy a Shohei Ohtani jersey, bobblehead, T-shirt, banner, pennant, whatever. I'm probably gonna buy all that shit. If you disrespect me without, a World Series championship within 2 years, then I mean, then what was the point? What was the point? Just to sell some toys, probably. But yeah, I'm expecting a lot out of this guy, a ton out of this guy. Moving on to some gaming news. Talking a little bit about games today. Not a whole lot, but some things that was big this week. E3, the gaming convention that was pretty much the highlight of June for me as a kid, as a young man, as a high schooler. E3, the gaming convention where they would show off games, game trailers, gameplay, game announcements, new console announcements, stuff like that. You probably have heard of it. If you haven't, it was a lit time. It's now gone. Then no more. It's kaput. End of an era. RIP E3. Pretty sad, if I'm being completely honest. E3 for me was a calendar event for me, my friends, who all would show up to my house, the place I live, to watch E3, whether it was on, back in the day it was G4, I think at some point it was on Spike, and then it went to Twitch, and then YouTube and streaming. Each year got, better and better and better, and then there was a decline where studios and publishers would be pulling out. I think the first one to pull out was Microsoft. Then after that, PlayStation. And then I think actually it might have been Nintendo first. Then Microsoft. Then PlayStation. And then it was just like Ubisoft. And then they were like, nah, we're done. And then Bethesda pulled out. And then just they all did their own thing. They all decided to do like, what? We don't need to pay E3 to show our stuff. We will put on a live stream for ourselves, not pay a dime, and show the people what we're cooking. And you know what? As much as that is smarter for those companies, I do think that I will miss like a combined unity between all these companies to be at one gaming convention every year to show off the big shit. That I think was the coolest part about E3 is that yes, PlayStation, Microsoft were at war, but they all kind of came together at the same convention every year, every summer to show what they got to the world in almost like a neutral battleground where Sony fans and Microsoft fans and Nintendo fans could all gather in one area to see what these boys got cooking for this coming holiday season. And damn it, man, as much as I enjoy their own conferences now, months apart from each other, I did like when we got one day PlayStation, one day Xbox, one day Nintendo. That was cool. That was really cool with Bethesda, Ubisoft mixed in. You know, that was a cool time to be a gamer, a cool time to be a gaming fan, to play video games. And yeah, the past few years, past like 5 or 6 years, it's been pretty much on the decline, and rarely I watched it. I think I just, because Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo had their own things, you wouldn't even remember that E3 was happening for some years. But the official news of it finally being dead, of it finally being over, is kind of sad. Kind of sad. There was a lot of memories made watching E3. A lot of hangouts, a lot of pizza consumed, a lot of junk food consumed, and watching E3 when I was younger. You can't replace it, man. Those were some good times. Those were some good times, some fun times, man. It was great. It was awesome. And you know what? As much as I began to not care about E3 for the past, like I said, 5 years, now that I know that it's officially gone, it kind of brings a tear to my eye. I'm be completely honest. I will miss it. E3, you will be missed. You will be missed. Maybe one day, maybe they make a comeback. They try to make a comeback, and they try to do bring them back together. Let's all do like a last hurrah. Maybe like a callback, throwback. I don't know. That probably will never happen, but I don't know. It's fun to think about. It's a cool time. Really, really, really cool time. Cool time. Always in the summer, too. Always nice weather when it was happening. Cool to, just watch it. You didn't have school. You can just, go to your friend's house and order some pizza, some chips and shit, and just be on the couch and watch what's coming out, what we can get our hands on in the next, 5 months. It's truly going to be missed. Truly going to be missed. The other gaming topic that I've heard about this week was the failure, the complete disaster, which is the game The Day Before, which is this open world zombie survival game that apparently was released early access, for a charge I believe of $40 to get it on Steam and other platforms like that on PC. And it was pulled from Steam within 4 days. And the developers that made it also went under. The company is gone. And it was like a sad and sorry attempt of making some money to pay these people that made this shitty-ass game. And, it just was a big disaster. A big, colossal, funny disaster. Because this game, I think, has been talked about for a few years. People were excited about it. I had a friend of mine who was excited about it that would have played it if he didn't see how bad it was. And, I haven't watched any gameplay of it. All I've seen and all I've heard is that it is like the worst attempt of putting out a game in recent history. Essentially none of it is original. It all uses things and concepts and promotion that is stolen from other games, and use into this big old Frankenstein game of a zombie survival game, which I hear barely has any zombies in it, by the way, and they just put it out there to try to make a quick buck, and even that that even was a failure, because I think like a good chunk of the people that actually bought it requested refunds, like within the period that you can get a full refund, and got the refund, and the company could not stabilize after all those losses, and then had to go under. Like it's incredible how people can think that they can scam these people into getting this game. I don't even know why like they would even put out a early access like this and get so embarrassed on an early access of your game. Like this isn't even like the full game, correct? Like it's an early access. I don't even know if it's a full game or if it's like a beta or something like that, or just like before, I don't know. But for you to get completely embarrassed like that on an early access of your game is incredible. I've never heard of this in my entire life. And the fact that it's a game that, people were excited about, right? Zombie survival. People love survival games for some reason and just want to play them ad nauseum. Especially a game like with like an edgy ass name, like The Day Before. What does that even mean, by the way? Like, what do you mean the day before? Like, the day before the zombie apocalypse, like that's a normal day. That's a happy day. That nothing's wrong in the world at that point. Like, why is it called The Day Before? It makes absolutely no sense. Why would anybody title their game that has a zombie apocalypse survival game vibe? Like, why would anybody do that? I guess these people that thought that their game was going to be monumental. Of course, like, you go back in time and you see what they showed off from the game. Of course, it looks so good. The graphics look amazing. It looks promising. And then, of course, when the early access game comes out, none of that stuff that they showed was there. It was all a lie. Like, it's pretty incredible how a game that is, in my eyes, was not even on my radar, but on so many else's, and it just completely fail in the course of like 4 days. IGN, bitch ass IGN, who gives everybody 7s and is candy ass, gave this game a 1 out of 10. Now, if I was playing it, if I was probably, a real person and not pandering to these companies like bitch ass IGN, I would probably give it a negative 5 out of 10. Break my scale. You guys know I love breaking my scales. I would have broken the scale if it was that bad. I would have not been hiding behind a bush, hiding behind a rating system just to be I don't know, fair, I would have given that game a negative 5 out of 10 if it had came out. Could you imagine if IGN actually had some balls to really go for it? Like, if they actually, let's say like IGN gave The Day Before a negative 5 out of 10. Do you know how much more buzz that would create than a 1 out of 10? Let's be honest. I mean, I think that if you ask a lot of people out there, they probably think that a negative 5 out of 10 is a much more justifiable rating of The Day Before than a 1 out of 10. I think so. I mean, I'm trying to help you out, IGN. I know you guys don't really get as much traffic or attention like you used to because of your shitty rating system and your shitty reviews, but I was trying to help you out. Maybe next time, if you give a negative 5 review on a game that deserves a negative 5 review. I mean, if you read the review, it sounds like one of the worst games of all time. Like, how could you not at that point just say, fuck my scale, and give it a negative 5 out of 10? It would have been so much funnier. You would have gotten more clicks, more laughs, more LOLs, and more, attention to you. People might actually have respected you more if you gave it a negative 5 out of 10. Now, of course, I didn't play the game. But if I did, I probably would have given it a negative 5 out of 10. I would have gone on this podcast, hopped on the mic, and be like, you know what? The Day Before sucks dick, negative 5 out of 10. Get that shit out of my face. I would have moved on with my life. But, the fact that this actually happened calls into question, what are these people doing? what are these people in charge of this development thinking? I've kind of, I'm softening my tone on the people who make video games. I understand that there's developers out there that enjoy and love making video games, writing code and programming and engineering and, doing all this design and stuff, all this art stuff and drawing and all that. Designing maps, designing levels, it's a good thing. It's a good art form. It's a good thing to keep in the world. But the fact that these executives at that company had the balls, had the audacity to put out the early access when they had to have known that this was going to be a failure, right? At that point, can you not tell your company, tell your bosses that, hey, if we put this out here right now, fellas, we're going to be dead. We're going to be dead. Our company's going to be dead. We're all going to be dead. And then we're going to be the laughing stock of the rest of the year. Even more. We cannot, for our reputation, for these people's jobs, we cannot put out this game. And not even the game, the early access. We cannot put out this early access. We will be murdered. We will be slaughtered by everybody who touches it. It's over. The fact that Steam took it off their store, the company that made it is gone. I mean, it's incredible. It's an incredible series of events, series of unfortunate events, if I may add. It is so bad. I don't think I've ever seen a game fail this bad, this quick, since Cyberpunk or Anthem. And don't get me wrong, I know Cyberpunk is back, but Cyberpunk did fail. Don't forget that. You never forget that. Never forget anything. First impressions matter. This might have been not as fast as the Cyberpunk failure, but definitely up there when it comes to game failures that, are just, catastrophic, where the company is gone. Now, CD Projekt Red is not gone. They made DLCs, they've improved the game, made it even better than it was before. So at least we can give them that. They made a comeback. They came back and took their game back. Good for them, right? This company, there's no way. They're gone. They're probably gonna disappear. They probably deleted their X accounts, they deleted their Instagrams, made them all private and shit. They're gone. I mean, I don't see a way how this game could rebound. Does anybody even want it? Like I said, people who saw gameplay or told me about gameplay said that there's not even any zombies in it. I was like, what do you mean? It's called The Day Before. It's about zombies and survival and apocalypse. How is there no zombies? Listen, I've already said too much that I so much more than I even care about this game. But the fact that that this game existed, and that this happened, these events happened, and everybody was documenting it. Everybody was, there from day one to see what you got, and it failed miserably. I don't want to see games fail. I don't want to see them fail. I really don't. I don't think that games or anything should be in a viewpoint where I want this thing to fail. I think that's very, very evil. But the fact that it did happen when it didn't need to happen is kind of funny. You did not need to put this out. You weren't ready. You weren't ready. So why'd you do it? Boss told me to. Boss told me to. At that point, you're like, well, I guess you really had no other choice. But then you became a laughingstock. And you're never going to be forgotten either. Never going to be forgotten. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, and do all that good stuff. And yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.